I'm Sari.
And I'm Haley.
And this is Seamwork Radio. Welcome back to Seamwork Radio, where we share practical ideas for building a creative process so you can sew with intention and joy. And today we're talking about sewing statement pieces for your wardrobe. So we're going to cover how to choose colors and prints that you'll actually wear, ideas for making a statement even if you don't like bright colors, and how to find your own personal style signatures. Okay, so our icebreaker for today, Haley, what's something in your closet that you always get compliments on?
Ooh, I think I have a lot of outerwear pieces that I tend to get compliments on.
Mm-hmm.
I have a cashmere coat with a fur collar that's like a special occasion coat that I get a lot of compliments on every time I wear it. And I also have some jackets. I have a green jacket that people always seem to really like. I'm very attracted to outerwear that is a little bit unique. So I think they're like my more statement pieces. So they're more attention grabbing. People notice them. What about you?
Yeah. I have a Pendleton wool jacket that I made.
Oh, yes.
I get tons of compliments on whenever I wear it. So the pattern was a 1950s pattern. It's like a cropped swing coat with kind of wide sleeves. It's really cute. It just has a single button at the neckline. So it's got this like one big button. And I made it in this gray and cream large check Pendleton wool, and I lined it in a burgundy silk. And I made this jacket many years ago, well over 10 years ago, and I still get compliments on it every single time I wear it. It's just so pretty. One of my neighbors brought it up the other day because she loved it. She was so impressed by it. She said her mom had a coat like that when she was young. So that's the one I get a lot of compliments on. I used to have this vintage dress that for some reason, I would get a compliment on every single time I would wear it. And I have no idea why. It was this green printed, it had like a leaf print on it. It was probably from the early 80s, I would say, with an elasticized waist, but like a ruched elasticized waist, a thicker one. And it was cute. It was really cute. But I don't know why people always would compliment me on it. I didn't think it was that special. I don't have it anymore because I was just like, everybody loves this dress. And I think it's cute, but it's not really me anymore. So I got rid of it, and I don't really regret it, even though everybody else seemed to really love it. I was like kind of neutral on it. So
I wonder if it has something to do with the color and how the color looks on you. I feel like that's the case with my Rhett jacket, is that it's like a pretty basic jacket, but it's just a color that I think is very complimentary to me.
Yeah.
And people they really like it.
Yeah. I think the shape of this dress was really pretty. It was really wearable too and comfy. If it had been in a different color and print, I probably would have kept it. But yeah, it's kind of funny what sometimes the things that other people love are the same things you love, and sometimes it's not.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Well, if you have an icebreaker question for a future episode, you can leave it for us. If you're a Seamwork member, just go to seamwork.com/go/icebreakers, and that's going to take you to a thread on our community where you can leave your own icebreaker questions for us. Okay, so last week, we talked a lot about making even your most basic patterns feel special. So if you haven't listened to that episode, be sure to give that a listen if you haven't, because it's full of great tips, I think. And today we're going to talk about the other side of it. So this week, we're going to talk about the other end of the spectrum, which is your statement pieces. And statement pieces might include things you make for special occasions. I know that's kind of what comes to mind for me when I first think about statement pieces, but it could also include those everyday pieces that just kind of add a bit of pizzazz to your wardrobe. So I think we all enjoy a little dash of pizzazz.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you make sure that your statement pieces are actually wearable? Because I think that's a little bit of a danger. Is you come up with these ideas for these bolder statement pieces, and then they don't really feel all that wearable to you day to day. So how do you create things that add a bit of zest, but they aren't so overpowering that you feel self-conscious in them? And how do you make sure that they really go with whatever else you own already? So we have some tips today that can help. All right, Haley, do you have a lot of what you consider to be statement pieces in your own wardrobe?
That's an interesting question because I do feel like I have a lot of interesting statement pieces, but a lot of them do fall into the more special occasion category. So for my day-to-day, not quite as many. I wouldn't say I don't have any, but not quite as many. What about you?
I would say I have a lot. Yeah. I think I like to add a little bit of a statement to even more basic outfits. So I think I do have quite a few statement pieces and statement accessories.
Mm-hmm.
I really like, even though I do wear a lot of neutrals, I like to add a dash of something that's interesting to me. And I like to kind of spice up my basics, like we talked about last week,
Yeah.
and make them into a little bit more of a statement. So it's kind of a spectrum, really, when you think about it. It's not necessarily as one or the other, but things kind of exist along a spectrum. And I kind of feel like I have a lot of stuff that's in the middle.
Yeah, I do love a statement accessory. I do have a few of those that I incorporate pretty regularly. Do you wish you had more statement pieces or maybe fewer?
I think for me, I think I would probably, if I were kind of redesigning my whole wardrobe from the ground up, I'd probably say that having more basics would be beneficial for me and having fewer things overall, because I just have a lot of clothes, I feel like, that I've made over the years or I've thrifted over the years, and I don't get rid of things as often as I probably should. And I feel like I've accumulated a lot of really nice statement pieces and not as many basics. So
Yeah.
I'd say I'd probably want to go more the other way. What about you?
I think that I'm kind of a wardrobe minimalist. I don't have a huge wardrobe and I kind of like it that way. But I would love if I had like 5 to 10% more statement pieces in my day-to-day wardrobe, my everyday clothing. I'm happy with the amount of basics I have. I'm at a place now where I'm just kind of replacing things on an as-need basis.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that your statement pieces have less longevity or maybe more longevity than other things in your wardrobe?
I don't think they necessarily have less longevity in my wardrobe. I think there is a danger with statement pieces of getting sick of them because they draw so much attention and you might just like get over that certain color or not feel that print anymore. So I think there is a little bit of a danger there. I think if they're too trend driven, that's also kind of an issue. And I think statement pieces do tend to be more trend driven than basics, obviously, because basics, they don't really change all that much over time. So yeah, I guess, so yeah, I'm gonna change my answer. So yes, they do have a little bit less longevity, but it really depends.
I feel like my answer would be a yes and a no. There was a period in time where I wore a lot of statement pieces and I think I got really burnt out on it.
Yeah.
And it started to feel maybe slightly more costumey than personal style-y. And I went through a big style shift, a number of years ago, and I got rid of a lot of that stuff. And I think the pendulum swung a little bit far in one direction.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to find that happy medium. But I will say that a lot of the statement pieces that I have in my wardrobe, I have had for a long time.
Yeah.
And they tend to be, I have a lot of unique vintage pieces and a handful of handmade pieces that I'm just really fond of. But they fall into the special occasion category. And I think sometimes the trends for those things are a little bit more forgiving.
Yeah.
Depending on what your style is.
Yeah. And that's true. And thinking about vintage stuff, I do have a lot of more vintage statement pieces. And I feel like those really stand the test of time. Even if they go out of style, they always come back. So unlike maybe more modern trendy pieces do.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting to think about too.
Are there specific kinds of garments or accessories that you like to make a statement with?
Well, I would say tops for one when it comes to garments. I think that's a really easy way to make a statement because they just are easy to wear with a lot of different things and a lot of basics. And then scarves. I love scarves. And that's an easy way to add color and print into an otherwise kind of basic outfit.
Yeah.
And then jewelry. I love to wear a lot of jewelry.
You are a jewelry girl.
I like to pile on vintage and antique jewelry. It's just something that, I don't know, it has so much history to it. It's so sentimental. It's so meaningful. And it's just beautiful and you can wear it forever. So I really like to wear jewelry. So those are mine. What about you?
Scarves. I collect them. I love a scarf. I also love a sock, a little pop of color with my socks. If I'm getting dressed and I feel like my outfit is a little boring, my top 3 go-tos are always going to be scarf, interesting sock or shoe, lipstick.
Yeah,
lipstick. I am a lipstick girl. I feel like that always makes things fun. And I also like to switch my bags out depending on, I feel two of my style words are classic and fun.
Mhm.
And if my outfit feels really classic, I like to do like a more fun, maybe youthful bag. And if my outfit feels really like maybe slightly more youthful, I'll like do a more classic, kind of like a leather satchel or tote, something like that. So those are kind of some of the statements that I take advantage of to like shift gears on my outfits.
Yeah, it's so great to do that with accessories because you can really just have even a pretty simple wardrobe and just jazz it up.
Yeah. And it allows me to like create my outfit almost as an afterthought.
Yeah.
When you like have a really busy life and you just like are dressing for practicality, as a lot of us need to do, those statement accessories can really come in handy.
Yeah, same with outerwear. It's just, even if you're wearing leggings and a sweatshirt, you can throw a beautiful coat over it and a nice pair of shoes and you look fancy all of a sudden.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, another great way to do that is to choose a statement color and dress with a statement color. And that is actually my first tip, is to choose a seasonal statement color. This is part of how we build our seasonal color palettes and Design Your Wardrobe, which is a program we run to help you design your seasonal wardrobe. We run it 4 times a year. And each season you create a palette of neutrals, which are like the most neutrals of neutrals. Think beige, black, brown, basics. These are like that are like a step above a neutral, and then your statement color. What's great about this approach is that you can switch up your statement colors each season, which is a great way to introduce some seasonal variety into your wardrobe. It's also a fun way to play with colors that you might not usually wear. So for example, if you notice yourself drawn to a new color, like let's say like a raspberry pink, you can try 1 or 2 pieces and see how they work with the rest of your more stable color palette.
Yeah, I love to do that. Or you can, do the same color season after season and just see how it works for you, because that's a great way to kind of tie things together too. If you have a certain color that is kind of your statement color that you absolutely love. The next tip is to add some fun texture. So personally, I love playing with texture in my wardrobe. So think about how you can incorporate unusual textures to make a statement, even without using bold color. So this is great if you're somebody who likes to wear a lot of neutral colors. I have some color in my wardrobe, but I do have a very basic palette that's kind of the underlayer of my wardrobe, with a lot of black and a lot of white or cream. And so textures are a way that I can add some spice and some variety without incorporating too much color. So some examples you can think about are fuzzy sweater knits, shiny silks, leather trims, some faux fur or some sherpa, some fringe, some lace. There are just tons of ways that you can add texture into your wardrobe. And this is something that I really make a lot of use out of personally. And it's a great way to kind of bridge that gap between basics and statements too, if you're looking for a nice middle ground of something that you can wear with a lot of different things, but at the same time that draws some attention.
I feel like this is a tip that really was driven home to me at a young age, hanging around a lot of goth kids. Because even though my friends who were like kind of goth or goth leaning would wear mostly black, there was always lots of like texture and dimension going on, and it really goes a long way.
Yeah. Lace and velvet. And,
Yeah.
That was me as a teenager, definitely. And it's kind of interesting growing up in the 90s because I wore all black as a teenager a lot of the time. But then at the same time, rave culture was a big thing back then. So that kind of, the contrast there was pretty interesting.
And some pops of like day glow, you know?
Yeah.
All right, the next tip is to make some statement accessories. I love this tip. If you're a bit of a minimalist, maybe like me, this is a great tip for adding variety without needing a really big, varied wardrobe. You can add just some statement accessories. This could be a bag in a bold, attention-getting print. I have a gingham bag that I love that's like really playful. Even a fun tote that you can use every day can make a big statement and is a really fun palette cleanser to sew, really easy. Or you can make a brightly colored scarf or bandana, a belt, scrunchie, headbands, really anything that you can add to an otherwise simple outfit to just inject like a little bit of personality. This is definitely kind of my mode of making a statement to an otherwise plain outfit.
That actually makes me think maybe I should add a tote bag into my spring sewing plan. I use tote bags all the time. So
Yeah.
I feel like that would be really cool. I like the gingham idea, or maybe even like an animal print, like a leopard print or something would be really fun.
Oh, they're really big.
I
For
know.
spring, I just finished doing my spring trend report. And last year we saw so much leopard print. That was a really big trend, but now it's really like expanding into a lot more like snake print and like even cowhide and zebra and all sorts of animal prints, which is kind of fun to play with.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of zebra print. I can't really get into it, but I like the way it looks on other people.
It's not for me, but I think that it's fun and is perfect for making a statement.
Yeah, I do like animal prints generally. I think that could be a really fun one. All right, the next one is establish your signatures. Now, I always feel like the people that have the best personal style are those people that have certain personal signatures that make a statement and they just wear over and over again. So just to give you some really obvious examples, I'm thinking of people like Jane Birkin with her basket bags, or Diane Keaton with her hats, or Jackie O with her sunglasses. So those are some really famous examples, but I'm sure you've all known people like this who have just this certain thing that's theirs. And it can be fun to recognize your own style signatures and then just really lean into them. And that could be a certain color, it could be a certain type of garment, or even just a certain accessory. And if you need help with this, you might want to check out our style workshop. It goes through a bunch of exercises to help you kind of hone in on your personal style and kind of uncover what those style signatures might be for you. So once you find those, or you have an idea of what they might be, you could try making a few versions and then adding them to your outfits. So one thing I noticed is that I really love to reach for lacy white blouses with a lot of details. So kind of like heirloom inspired, vintage inspired details. So think kind of modern versions of Edwardian blouses, that sort of thing. And I love those in white and sometimes black. So this spring, I decided to really focus on adding more of those signature pieces into my wardrobe, which I think is going to be really fun. And they kind of fall into that category that I mentioned before of things that make a statement without a lot of color. They have a lot of really interesting details and texture to them rather than color. So it might be different for you. I also wear a lot of scarves. That's another one that I think makes a statement. I don't think it's as common these days, like little silk scarves and kerchiefs. And I'm sure you have your own things that you just feel really, really good in that you could kind of pull out and lean into a little bit more. Do you have things like that, Haley?
I would say scarves are definitely one of them. I love a structured jacket. I feel like I wear a lot of structured jackets, and that has become kind of a signature. And then one that I wear every day is glasses. I think my glasses have definitely become a little bit of a signature. Stripes. I'm a stripes girl. That's become a signature for me. But it's also fun to see how your signatures evolve and change over time and which ones remain static. Because I think that there's some things that are maybe signatures for a season and some that have a little bit more longevity in our lives.
Yeah, it's interesting to look back and see what you gravitate towards over a long period of years.
Yeah, totally.
That's always a really good exercise to do too.
All right, my next tip is to play with shapes. Another way to add a statement piece, particularly if you're not that into bright colors, is to look for patterns with really eye-catching shapes. For example, you can make a dress with a really big attention-grabbing sleeve like the Seymour Sloan dress, which is a simple kind of sheath dress with voluminous bubble sleeves. Or you can try something that's off the shoulder or in a maxi length for a lot of drama. If there's a shape that you don't normally wear but really like, it can be really fun to try and make that your statement piece for the season.
Yeah, that's a great idea. You know, I was just, when you were talking, I was thinking about how barrel jeans are really big right now. I keep seeing them everywhere. That is a shape that I don't see myself wearing personally, but I like it on other people.
Yeah. I think that it totally depends on the personal style of the person. I think maybe some people might say that it's contingent on your body type, which I think is, to me, up for debate. I think wear what you want, whatever. But if you have like that like funky, cool style, I think that it's great. I just don't know if I'm like that funky.
Yeah. I don't think I'm that funky. I'm not Gen Z enough, I don't think. But I think other people look awesome in them.
Yeah, I'll just be cool in other ways, not in like barrel leg ways.
But if you're into them, I think they're a fun way to make a statement. I think it depends on the shape. Some people might be more into a more dramatic barrel leg shape and some people a more subtle one. I've seen all different variations on it.
Totally.
But I think that's a great example of one that is maybe a little bit more trendy right now.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily need to be like a really exaggerated thing like a big bubble sleeve or the barrel leg. It can be something like maybe you're really attracted to like really short mini lengths or maybe more boxy or trapeze silhouettes or even something that's really tightly fitted. These are all like really attention grabbing silhouettes and it's just, different flavors of the same thing.
Yeah. I know for me personally, I love a short skirt or a really long skirt personally. And I think that adds a little bit of drama to an outfit.
Yeah, it has to be for me mid-calf or above mid-thigh. Those are like my two modes of skirt.
Those are my favorites too. This one I'm wearing, it ended up a little shorter than I wanted. I wanted it to be more mid-calf. It's a little bit more below the knee. So I have a little bit of regret about that.
I think that neither of us are very tall people. And I think that those are like the two really great lengths if you want to like create the illusion of being taller than you are.
I always want to look taller than I am.
Same.
All right, the next tip is to choose one bold print and make a top. So I kind of mentioned this earlier. I teased this a little bit, but I personally love prints, but I think I'm like a lot of other sewists in that I can get carried away with them because there's just so many cute prints out there. And I just feel like it can be a bit of a struggle to figure out how to incorporate them into your wardrobe because it's really easy to end up with a whole bunch of printed things that don't go with anything else or that don't really feel like you. You just liked them. You just liked it when you saw the fabric at the store and you thought it was so cute, but it doesn't actually go with what you normally wear. So a tip that I love is if you fall in love with a bold statement print, just turn it into a top because a top can be worn with something really simple on the bottom, like, for example, neutral trousers or a pair of jeans. And there's just very few tops that don't look great with jeans, I think. I can't really think of any top that doesn't look cool with jeans. Even like a sequin top looks great with jeans.
I'm a jeans girl through and through. Yeah. You can't convince me otherwise that this isn't true.
Yeah. So if you're somebody who wears jeans, which I think most people wear jeans these days, but if you are somebody who wears jeans, I don't think you can go wrong with a bold top. If you have a fabric that you absolutely love and don't know what to do with otherwise. So it's just an easy way to incorporate those attention-grabbing prints and colors. And of course, we talked about scarves as well. So that's another option too, especially if you only have a little bit of it. Like if you have a little scrap you want to use up, I think a scarf is a cool thing and make great gifts too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what's your big takeaway from today's episode, Haley?
I think my big takeaway was kind of the realization that a lot of my statement pieces are in the special occasion bucket of my wardrobe, and that day to day, my accessory statements get the most play. So it's just an interesting observation that I'm going to take with me into my next season of sewing plans, I think. What about you? What's your takeaway?
My takeaway from today's episode is just that it can be really fun to uncover what feels personal to you and kind of use that to inform the statement pieces that you create. I think a lot of what we talked about today was really about figuring out what makes you feel good. And I think it's really, I feel like particularly with statement pieces, it's about how you want to feel day to day and how you want to not just present yourself to other people, but how you personally want to feel and how your clothing makes you feel. And that can change over time. And I think statement pieces in your wardrobe are a great way to play with that feeling because as you evolve and as you change, whether that's your lifestyle or your body or just your personality or what you're thinking, what you're feeling, you can evolve the statement pieces in your wardrobe to kind of go along with that. So I think that's kind of a cool function of them. You know, I realized that in the last episode, we forgot to recap all of our tips. So apologies if you listen to that last episode. So I'm going to recap our tips for today with you before I forget. So our tips today were to choose seasonal statement colors, to add fun textures into your wardrobe with statement pieces, even if you don't like a lot of bold color, to make some statement accessories, especially if you're a minimalist. It's great for adding some variety with accessories, to establish your style signatures. I talked a little bit about our style workshop, which can help you with that if you're interested, and to play with shapes. And then finally, to choose one bold print and turn it into a top. So those are our tips for you today for creating your own statement pieces. And I just wanted to give a quick promo shout out for Design Your Wardrobe. So when you join Seamwork, you actually get access to our really popular Design Your Wardrobe premium course, which I've mentioned a few times in this episode. And the spring 2025 season is happening right now, but there's still time to sign up as of today when this goes out. So we're officially starting on the exercises next week. And it walks you through a process of designing a collection of projects for the season. And it's available as a self-guided program, but we also run it as a group course 4 times a year. So that's the one that's starting right now, is the spring 2025 one, which is really fun to do together because you get to see what everybody else is creating and kind of cheer each other on and have a place to share as you go through the exercises and kind of figure out what you want to sew for the season. So you can learn more at seamwork.com/go/DYW. We'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. And if you want a taste of what's included, you can get our free sewing planner at seamwork.com/go/free-planner. So that's seamwork.com/go/free-planner. And that gets you our planner that we use in the program so you can get kind of a taste of what we cover. All right. And if you like this episode, please leave us a review. We love reading your 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to this right now. We love hearing from you guys. So be sure to leave us a review. And you can also follow us on YouTube at Seamwork Video. You can follow us on Instagram at Seamwork. And if you'd like to join us at Seamwork and become part of our private community, plus get access to hundreds of sewing patterns and dozens of classes, our podcast listeners get a 50% off lifetime discount when you join at seamwork.com/go/podcast50. So that's seamwork.com/go/podcast50. And that does it for us this week. I'm Sari.
And I'm Haley.
And this is Seamwork Radio. Seamwork Radio is brought to you by the team at Seamwork. Seamwork's an online community that supports you in creating a wardrobe that feels right for you. When you join us at Seamwork, you become part of our private community of makers, and you also get access to monthly sew-along classes, a library of over 200 sewing patterns, and tons of great resources to help guide you through the sewing adventure that you choose. Podcast listeners can get half off a Seamwork Unlimited membership, which means you can download as many of those 200 plus patterns as you want at any time, and our community will be there to guide and support you. If you'd like to join us for half off, just visit seamwork.com/go/podcast50. You can also find us on Instagram at Seamwork, or visit our YouTube channel, which is called Seamwork Video. We love hearing from you, so let us know if there's a topic or a personal story that you'd like us to cover. Thanks for listening to Seamwork Radio.